Hey, welcome back to Graceful Conversations. I'm so excited to be here today with Staci.
Yep, welcome back, everybody. I'm really excited about our guest today, a well-known friend of Grace Reliant.
Yes. Yeah. Well-known friend.
You.
Definitely. Yeah. So
Thank you.
I hope everybody had the opportunity to watch the initial relaunch of our podcast. And we, if you hadn't, go back and find that. It was posted last week on our YouTube channel. And yeah, take a look at that because we are in a new studio. So I hope that you're joining us and are excited about this interview today. If you hear a little clickety-clackety in the background, we have a friend with us, Sadie, who, if you come to the office, you might get to meet.
Yeah. So we have with us today Ann Brown.
Yes.
We said how excited we were and just assumed everyone watching knows exactly who this is.
We were getting there.
We were getting there.
Yeah, Ann Brown. Yeah, I have known Ann since I was
16.
Yes,
Wow.
long time, and I will be 49 this year, so that'll give you a little math equation to figure out.
Of course, I was only 16 then, too.
You were,
I was going to say.
yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, Ann has been with Grace Reliant for, more than 10 years now. How many, Ann? Let's see, working on 11 or 12?
July 1st of 2016, so it has been almost 11 years.
It's crazy.
Wow.
Oh,
That's a long time.
no, I'm
12.
wrong. July 1st of 2015.
Correct.
I was thinking
Right
it was
after
15,
we got
yeah.
the DMH contract.
12 years almost, yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Ann has got a really cool story, and we're going to dive into that today. So, hope that you guys are looking forward to that. Is there any housekeeping things that we need to share with the crew today, Staci?
Nothing that's particularly, I'm trying to think of when this will come out, but, our next quarterly all-staff meeting is on June 8th, so looking forward to that. We always do the Grace Rewards. I believe they're still taking nominations, so you can find out more information about that on Teams. I can't think of any more than that.
Yeah, okay. Cool. I was distracted by Sadie over there desiring some pets. So
Yeah.
She's got her pearls on today, looking fancy, her pink pearls. So, but yeah, let's get into the story of Ann Brown and how we got to know Ann and maybe just a little bit about how she got into the field of disability services. And yeah, so Ann, I know a lot of your story, but obviously others that are watching and listening don't. So you can kind of dive in wherever you'd like. But you've been in the world of disability services for more than 30 years. So, so kind of share a little bit about your background and how the Lord kind of orchestrated your world into this.
Okay. So I was introduced into the world of having someone as a family member who had developmental disabilities when I was 7, and my brother was born with Down syndrome. Mm-hmm. So back then, it was very uncommon to see people with developmental disabilities in the community.
Back then, talk about when that was.
James was born in 1968.
There you go.
So
You're making her age herself. That's not.
No.
I mean, it's good for the context of the story, but
so I was the only one, and people would make fun of James, and it was kind of isolating, and you didn't really feel like you really fit in, because you were different and nobody else seemed like they had family members. Mm-hmm. And people with developmental disabilities didn't really go out into the community much. And there wasn't a whole lot of knowledge about that, and people were just not exposed to it.
Was that because you were kind of born and raised on the West Coast?
Yes.
Yeah.
Los Angeles County.
So you were still out there when James was born. Okay. So I mean, the West Coast was typically more progressive than the Midwest. It's definitely, but so you felt that even there in LA.
Yes, they would make fun of him to me.
Yeah.
And it was.
So what was that like? Like when he was born and your mom and dad brought him home, like did they talk about what to expect, and like I'm sure there was very little information at that moment in time, but
no, I remember my mother crying one day, and she, I guess, didn't know when he was born. It was later on when they told my parents that he had Down syndrome.
Okay,
and I don't recall what period of time that was. He wasn't very old, but I remember her crying and saying that he had something, and I didn't know what in the world Down syndrome was, or what that meant, or anything like that. So we weren't really sure. But as in life, a lot of times all you know is what you know, and so all I knew from then on was, this is my brother, and so his growth and progress and developmental milestones were obviously delayed, but I hadn't been around that many kids that were from that age. I mean, I was the only child before he was born in my home. So, I didn't really see a whole lot of difference or understand that it was different.
It's fascinating because nowadays we see, I mean, medical advancements in understanding Down syndrome, and a lot of those kids are born with other conditions, health-related issues, heart conditions, and so on and so forth. So the fact in 1968, I mean, I doubt that they were doing any kind of, obviously, testing during the pregnancy to determine, now they do all these blood tests and kind of
you can kind of know
parents,
ahead of time whether or not there's a risk of it.
So then back then they didn't even do that. So
so it was a surprise.
So then you experienced just kind of the curiosity, the becoming aware of the fact that he was different or had some differences, and then I guess awakening to understanding like what that meant for you guys as a family.
I don't really remember anybody ever saying this is what you can expect. It kind of just was. And being in California, they did have programs that started. So my brother, when he was 3, would be picked up by a van who took him, I guess it was an early childhood place. So
that's cool.
I don't really know. I wasn't involved to know what exactly they worked on. But my mother passed away when I was 10 and James was 3. So I recall getting off. My dad worked nights, so I would leave school in 5th grade, come home, and have to get my brother off the van and then take care of him.
Gosh.
And then my dad got home after midnight, so I would have to take care of James and get him and myself to bed at 10 years old.
Oh my goodness.
And go to sleep at night. And he would be gone by the time I got home from school, and he was asleep when I got up in the morning to get myself and James ready.
Did you have any support besides?
We had a babysitter. She didn't last very long, and then we got another one eventually. But it kind of was that way for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So you your mom passing, you had to deal with the grief of that, as well as then jump in and kind of be the substitutionary mom for James. At an early age. So you became an immersed individual into somebody who's that close to you, with Down syndrome, not fully understanding the ins and outs of what you were, dealing with in that, but also that's really played into your story a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just curious, and then we can move on for this because I know that so much of we're still early in your story, and there's so much more to share. Yes, ma'am. Sorry, Sadie demanding more pets again. When James got to be school age, like at that time, was there any integration at all? Was he in the same school as you? Did he go to his own specialized school?
He went to a school that was it was segregated.
Yeah.
So
wow.
yeah, I don't really recall much of anything with his school in California.
Yeah.
It was when we moved to Southwest Missouri.
Gotcha.
My dad was born and raised in Marionville, Missouri.
Okay.
Outside of Springfield. So after that is when I got involved. I knew what was going on. He went to the state school in Monette, Missouri, and
Wow.
then they changed districts, and he went to school at the state school. Both of them were state schools.
Oh, wow.
And so when I was 13, I started going there to the school to volunteer, got to know his friends, did my first Special Olympics when I was 13, and
wow.
got to help with that. And it was awesome. I loved the people that he was friends with, and the teachers were amazing. And I got my first proposal when I was 13 by my brother's friend, who also had Down syndrome and was 2 years older than James. But Willie was awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So in that, as you moved to Missouri and saw his development and the things that he was involved with, I mean, your dad was around I know there was at some point he passed away as
Yes.
well. And what age was that?
I was 24. James
Okay.
must have been 17.
Okay.
I always have to do the math backwards. But
Yeah. Sure.
So you were still... Did your dad get remarried at that point?
Yes.
Okay, I thought you said yeah. So your stepmom was there, and I know there was some, obviously as a teenager and things, a lot going on there.
It was very dysfunctional.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on. But still, I'm sure you were a strong advocate for James in that period of time too. So
yes, he would. He and I spent so much time together and did a lot of things together. And he was very close to my dad. My dad took him everywhere. They
that's awesome.
hung out together a lot. By then, my dad, he had retired from the military years before, and then he'd worked again but retired. But him and James were buds. You could see them wherever. It was always James and my dad together.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
yeah. So fast forwarding a little bit, Dad passes away, and then the full responsibility of James again comes to you as a caregiver.
I became his guardian. He moved in with me, and my kids grew up with him.
Wow.
So my oldest was 5 when he came to live with us, I believe, and then I had my youngest when he lived with us. So the two of them, she just treated him like he was her brother, and she would hold his hand and walk out to the swings, and they would swing together, and she would sit down at her little Tyke's desk and hand him paper and crayons, and they just spent a lot of, they were together a lot, and they were very close.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a great experience for them, too. Yeah.
Yeah, she's still very close to him.
Yeah. Very
So
cool.
woven in the midst of this is, like your own career path. I mean, you share a little bit about that because, you're a family member, an advocate, a caregiver, but, you still have to figure out life, right? And what's going on for yourself. I mean, you've got to provide for yourself, and now James. And so what did that look like?
Well, I had a really rocky road. I got out of high school, I went straight to college, and 4 years later I had my degree, and it was not like that at all. It was, there were many, many obstacles, many, many hurdles to overcome in my journey to end up getting my degree and getting there. I remember really getting very interested in employment for people with DD.
Okay.
When I was in school at Springfield at Missouri State, and getting exposed to, then it was called, the Ark of the Ozarks.
Yeah.
I believe it already was called that. And
They've been around a long time.
there was a
Yeah.
woman named Amy Waldrop who came into my class, which at the time was called Psychology of Mental Retardation.
Oh,
Yeah, we don't use that word anymore. But she came and talked about how she had worked 6 months to place, I believe at the time they had placed 2 different people in jobs. And the one that was her most recent one had been working at Napa Auto Parts. It was an auto parts for sure. And he was a great fit there, and they loved him. That was the first one. They loved him, and then she was working on the second one, had been placed at, I think it was called Food for Less back then. And she spent 6 months trying to get the fit right,
That's
and
awesome.
invested lots of her time to get one successful placement at a time back
that's
then.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
So
It is.
she was cutting edge back then,
Yeah.
and devoted her.
It's a little bit cutting edge now.
Yes,
Still.
Yeah.
yes. So that was pretty amazing, and that got me interested. I approached the Barry Lawrence County. Back then it was called the ARC, the Association for Retarded Citizens, and I approached them and asked them if they would consider an employment study for people with developmental disabilities. And they contracted with me, and I went to Salem, Missouri, and met with some people that were working on employment there, and I finished that, compiled all the stuff, and submitted it to them. They really didn't go anywhere with it. And it was still challenging to get employers involved, especially, I think, in the smaller communities.
And we're
Yeah.
talking, what, probably 80s, mid-80s, early 80s?
That would have been, in the probably after 86,
Okay.
but before 90,
Yeah.
somewhere
Okay.
in that
Yeah.
realm.
Yeah, that was the time frame when, I think the decentralization of mental health was really being pushed, right? The deinstitutionalization, and just that was such a new concept for people, and so you were on the cutting edge then.
I thought from the beginning that James had a work experience while he was at the state school where he worked at Pizza Hut, and I had hoped that he would get to maintain that and
Yeah.
work there, but that didn't work out, and he started going to the sheltered workshop there in Monette. There really wasn't a whole lot of options.
At the time, did it occur to you that you were pioneering this kind of revolutionary way of doing life for
No.
individuals, or you were just looking at your brother and
Yes.
wanting a better life for him?
Yes, I wanted a plan for him. I wanted
Yeah.
him to have a life with meaning and to be able to do something with purpose when he got out of school, which he went till he was 21. So I guess
Yeah.
it was, let me see, in the 90s, probably about 94, I went to work for a company that was new at the time. The gentleman who hired me was working out of an apartment, and he was from Springfield, Missouri. He rented an apartment in Poplar Bluff where I was living at the time, and I became a DSP.
Okay.
That was my first real full-time position doing that, and I worked with a woman who had co-occurring. She had mental illness and a developmental disability, and so I went from that to I became her primary. We call them house managers now here.
Yeah. Yeah.
That became that, and then ended up being, I went to work that's when I met Samuel and Susan,
Okay.
working for their parents in Dexter in the 90s, and I got hired as a program manager. I don't remember if that was the title that we called it, but I think it was.
Yeah.
And,
QDDP back in those days. Yeah.
and then we had, it was Tri-County Independent Living, Supported Living, but I actually had 4 counties
Yeah.
that I oversaw and saw all of the
Went from
individuals.
Tri-county to Quad County. No.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I had people in Sykeston, Caruthersville, Kennett, Dexter,
Yeah.
and Poplar Bluff.
Okay.
And I saw them all every week. And
Yeah, Dad started his mental health journey into on the MI side. So he was actually working for an organization that was part of the decentralization process. So
Okay.
people that were these weren't people with intellectual disabilities. They were people that just had serious mental illness that had been at Farmington State
Okay.
Mental Hospital, and they were being rehoused back in their community. So they went from institutional treatment into community-based treatment. And so that was his start.
Okay.
And anyway, and then started working with people with disabilities, and that's how Ann came along.
Okay.
Yeah.
so, yeah, Susan interviewed me, and it has been a very eventful, exciting, and there have been a lot of life challenges in the amount of time since then, but it has been a wonderful relationship, and their vision and their dreams and their commitment to hard work and making people's lives better just so fit in with my feelings and my own,
Yeah.
values. And so I became a support coordinator for Catholic Charities in 2012.
Okay.
In between there, I worked for a while in employment services and did job development and things like that in Poplar Bluff, but ended up moving to Cape when I worked on finishing my last year of school while I worked full time. And ultimately in 2012 became a service coordinator for Cape County Case Management, who later...
I think we've discussed before that I think for a hot minute, Joey and Bella might have been on your caseload. Because when I came to work here, I'm like, that name sounds so familiar.
There was a time when Cape County Case Management was then disbanded, and the contract for Targeted Case Management, TCM, was given to Catholic Charities. That was actually on my birthday. So I remember that date. It was October in 2014 that Catholic Charities, we all moved. Gina Blocker and Julie Schaffner and I were the three people that moved from Cape County Case Management to Catholic Charities in Cape Girardeau then. And so the three of us, got to help move that day with a couple of other guys from Catholic Charities, and we moved into the building over on Carondelet.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was a fun and exciting time. I, at the time, ended up, because the three of us had to take on everyone who was getting services in Cape County, I had 79 people on my caseload.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of...
I don't think we ever met.
Getting
I just would
Band-Aids.
occasionally get pieces of mail. At that time, too, Joey and Bella didn't need a lot. So...
Yeah.
So there were a lot of Band-Aids that we pulled out, and and I felt so bad for the people that we were serving, but with that, you do whatever you can to try to keep services flowing until you can do better. And then we started training, other people pretty quickly and getting them acclimated and out there, and so it was an interesting period of time.
In between all your DD, roles that you've had in this realm of disability services, I know that you left out a big section because you were in HR with Chateau for a long time, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
yes,
what was your role there, the HR director?
I was the director of human resources of 1998 to 2008.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And was James in that in that period of time, he was getting services, wasn't he? Like through self-directed or something?
Yeah, yes, there were several different, I had to fight some battles to try to get services for him. It doesn't feel that way anymore because it's far removed from me, but I can remember thinking, man, I have to claw and scratch and pull and fight and tug and all the stuff to try to get services for him. It seemed like they didn't want to approve much of anything. So initially he got respite services, maybe 10 hours a month or something like that.
Goodness.
That wasn't very helpful at all.
Yeah.
But eventually we did end up getting ISL services for him in 1997. And he has actually been with the same roommate since then.
That's incredible.
They have done really well together. I guess it's been 29 years now.
Like peas and carrots.
Yeah.
So they have really, spent a huge part of their lives together.
Yeah.
More than half for my brother.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so even in those years, I mean, your role as obviously as a family member, that never ceases. And so the advocacy, like you just said, it's crazy, the evolution of services over the years. And, as a family member, there's probably not one. I mean, Staci can articulate it as well with Joey and Bella. It's like all the fighting, all of the scratching, all of the clawing for things that shouldn't be that hard to get. I mean, why are we having to argue and fuss about, what this individual needs, like what my loved one needs? It shouldn't be a big fight about.
Yeah.
But it always seems like
especially when they I remember when the kids were small, they started out, both of them, with educational IEPs or an educational diagnosis through the school. And everyone said, well, make sure you go and get the neurological one so that they can get services, especially when they get to be adults. And so that was supposed to be the magic ticket. And since Joey has become an adult, some of the struggles that we've had and are still having to get him services. And it's like, if they have a clear diagnosis, like I have a whole 12-page report from the Autism Center, and you would think that would be a golden pass of this person clearly needs some services. And it's not. It is just, anyway.
Yeah.
We'll keep it positive today. But yes, it is kind of crazy sometimes how hard it can be to get some very obviously documented need for services.
Yeah.
I feel really passionate about serving families and individuals because I look at the people we serve and I think, what would I want for my brother?
Yeah.
What would I want from his staff? What would I want for his life? And I feel I relate to families who have people in their family that they need to make hard choices for, that they are trying to get assistance for and support. So I love talking to families. There's been so many families I've talked to that never get services from us, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But to kind of share with them what I know about trying to get services and what's available out there and encourage them that, it may be tough to get what they need, but if you hang in there and
really
go to the right places
understanding the rights that family members have, especially, whether they're a natural support or they're actually a guardian, how much they can ask for,
Yeah, I mean, we've learned, this isn't like revolutionary, but the squeaky wheel gets the grease. I mean, you have to constantly like be that squeaky wheel a lot of times to say, look, no, I'm not stopping. If I have to go all the way to Jeff City, and camp out on somebody's doorstep, I mean, my son or daughter or whoever it is going to get what they need. And so it's amazing, when you talk to the right person, what can happen. And it's like, why does it have to get to that level for something to happen, right?
And some people, it really depends on the education, because a lot of people don't know. And I didn't know what my brother could get. I didn't know there was support for all these different things. And so getting in touch with that information and being presented with, these are all the types of services that there are.
Yeah.
And so to know that you can push for something, or
I think that just, speaks to the A in our grace values. I mean, we're advocates at our true core. I mean, we're sitting here with all three of us, as family members of an individual with a developmental disability, and advocacy is at the core of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I see that coming out in you in so many ways. That's what I love about you, is like over the years, just how I've seen you advocate for our consumers. And just like you said, people that may never come and get services from us, family members will reach out and be like, somebody has connected you with them, and you're educating them about what the process is to navigate in order to get, access to the services that their child needs. So
and something that I love about Anne is that we know other people who we love, and they are great advocates, but they, over time, when you talk with them, can tell that they've become a little bit jaded in their advocating because of the battles they've had to do. And you are still one of the most compassionate people I know. Like, I would not want to go head to head with you while you're advocating for something. But you've never lost your kindness or your compassion. You're still one of the most joyful people that I know, and a great dog mom.
Thank you.
So true.
So it's true. Just, I think that's a very rare thing, just to brag on Anne for a little bit.
Oh, yeah. But I 100% agree. 100% agree.
We had a joke. For those of you that don't know, Anne's dog Sadie thinks that Anne and I should always be in the same room at the same time. So we invited Sadie to the podcast because we were afraid that we would be in trouble if she found out we were in a room together without her.
We need to make Sadie happy. So. Absolutely. And as you can tell, maybe on camera, you might see her roaming back between Anne and Staci, because she's, equal opportunity for pets here. I mean, that's what we have. So kind of bringing it to the forefront. I mean, you've like we shared already, been with Grace Reliant now for almost 12 years.
Almost 11.
11 years. Sorry, I'm already aging. Yeah. Was 2015, right?
It was 2015, so it will be 11 years, July the 1st.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So 11 years, July the 1st, and your role has been our executive director here, and you oversee the provision of our residential services. Mm-hmm. And so, talk a little bit about that and the evolution of things that you've seen maybe over the last 11 years in that role.
Oh, gosh. On day one, I can remember we did not even have forms.
No.
So
ground level.
Yes, I remember I had a consumer on my caseload, and that they were looking for a provider, and that was the very first consumer. Got PA services, that's personal assistance services, and we hired that person because the guardian sister was looking for another provider, and those we supported that consumer until he passed away months ago. Mm-hmm. And so he lived a very full life, and that same staff person is still with us after
That's
all these
incredible.
years, our very first employee. And but when I came on, I remember searching for forms, and that wasn't the AI day where you could just say, AI, make me a annual physical form with all these things in it. It was typing it up by hand, and coming up with all the different forms and the case notes, because we did them on paper, and just all the stuff. Initially, I did the recruiting and the hiring and the training and the all of that. But
it was a one-man. Well, I mean, we obviously helped, but it was still pretty much a one-man band.
But we have grown so much from that. So
Yeah.
now we have a great team
Yeah.
full of people who help with the hiring and the screening and the all of it from the ground up. So it definitely takes a team to manage the
That's all right.
I don't know if that got
didn't
picked
hear
up
that.
on the mic.
That
but-
was out in the hallway, but that's okay.
So yeah, now we have a full team of people and people who specialize in certain things, and we have some program manager trainees, and we have all of them have worked in the homes,
Yeah.
and we like that.
Yes, love
Yes.
that. Love
we
it.
have a brand new assistant director who is already starting, but filling out his role. But he's been with us from a DSP to then it was called primary. Now we call it house manager, and a program manager, and a development and training coordinator.
Yeah.
And so we love the people who have stayed with us and
Yeah.
grown with us and have proven that they care about that. That's what's most important to me. I don't care if we are ever the biggest provider. That is not even on my
No,
radar.
mine
That is
either.
not even a consideration to me. What I want to master in is that we care about people, and that the people we serve live a life that is full of meaning and purpose, and that they are enjoying themselves and living the best life that they can live with whatever limitations that we have. We all have limitations, but that they are enjoying their lives and they're full, and that
Yeah,
they're happy.
absolutely.
And their families feel content to know that they're safe and that we're doing the best we can to provide whatever support they need health-wise,
Yeah.
mentally, physically, emotionally.
Susan, I say, and I've said this probably on this podcast a few times, but, we live in a glass house. We're not going to throw rocks, but, what we do try to is if something, we're not perfect. And if there's something, right. If there's something that, is discovered, we want to fix it. And so we want
Absolutely.
people to live their most, full and happy life as possible. And so anything we can do
It's
to
right
help
on
them.
our website,
Yep.
helping people live complete and independent lives.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get a brownie point from Chelsea for
Maybe.
remembering that.
Maybe. We'll see.
So my brother has had a lot of support through his lots of changes, and he has had. I don't know if you want me to.
Yeah,
mention
sure.
this at this.
Yeah, because this is. This is a really. I was just sharing this with somebody this morning on our team that. Gosh, how well he's doing, and just kind of revolutionary almost. You know.
Well, James has Alzheimer's, as is really very common with people who have Down syndrome. And he started having symptoms, gosh, I'm thinking it was 2014. And initially I thought the day program who said he climbed over several rows of seats and grabbed a hold of the steering wheel while the driver was driving with people in the van. And I said, there is no way he did that. But eventually we would learn that, the symptoms don't look the same.
Right.
And so I have had my own journey of trying to figure out the best way to support him. And there actually have been several times that I have thought I would probably need to look for something with maybe a locked unit to keep him safe and to provide care for him. But I have done so much research with that and found Dr. Ansis from WashU, and he's a specialist in that. That's one of his areas of specialty, and he is currently working on a study for people with Down syndrome and some new medications that are the first ones in decades that have come out that have promise, but applying those specifically to people with Down syndrome. In the meantime, I found some alternative therapies too, and did a lot of research with them. And I am happy to say that my brother's staff will tell you it is night and day. We went from him running off, trying to leave, going down the middle of the road, trying to get out of his house. For some reason, he couldn't explain why, but he needed to get outside. And he pays no attention to cars coming in the road and things like that. But we've been very stable for some time, and he is again watching The Incredible Hulk and Knight Rider and different things, and laughing and enjoying life. And so I feel like that's a testament to God's grace and being able to find things that work and not just accepting what seemed like
the only option.
The option,
it was going to be this way, and it was inevitable, and you just have to accept that. And that wasn't the case. I'm thankful to say. And he just, and people talk about how funny he is. He has such a good sense of humor, and to have seen, if you had seen, I know you have seen some of the bad days, and the things that we went through to try to keep him safe. And I thought so many times, we can't support him in the community, but we did, and we are, and he's...
he even recently got to be in a photo shoot for Grace Reliant and took some really great photos and beautiful smile and just having such a good time.
It's Dr. Ansis has said, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. He's doing great. I'm so impressed. He has such a great staff, and he is so well supported, and I just love that for him.
I mean, he has not just outlived his quote unquote life expectancy from a medical standpoint. I mean, he's thriving right now. I mean, is it reversing the Alzheimer's? No, but it is at least giving him a quality of life and some longevity, right? And he's not suffering in that, and it's awesome to see. He's not, he's really enjoying life, and he recognizes the things that he enjoys. And so, you've done really such a great job with obviously caring for him over the course of your life and his life, and it just shows. I mean, he's just really a testament, and gosh, someday you'll probably get to tell that story, over and over and over again, because other people need to hear it and see it, because it's hard to see your loved one go through that. And I remember back probably like 3 years ago, because I was talking this morning to one of our behavior therapists who remembers when he was really struggling, and you were, wrestling with that decision, like, are we going to be able to keep him
in the community?
In the community? And she's like, wow, it's night and day. It's night and day from that.
Is.
So
there was a trainer who trained him for a while. He was with another provider, and he wasn't doing well at the time. His health was really not good. He had no stamina, and I determined that when all the tests came back, because we had him tested, for cardiologist and check off all the lists, that there wasn't something bad going on. And then I enrolled him with the trainer at Fitness Plus, and I actually see him because when I go there. Anyway, he told me the other day, he said, I saw your brother. It has probably been 15 years ago that James went to that trainer, and he said, I saw your brother at Target the other day, and he looks good.
Wow.
Oh, I love that.
That's cool.
That's very cool.
That's cool.
So now that I know you just recently, your team has built up a little bit, what are you looking, now that you might have a full team, and maybe you haven't taken a breath to think about this, but what are you looking forward to in the next year or couple of years?
I think most of all, trying to help as many people as we can, trying to support as many families. That there are so many people that still don't even know what's available, but also are unsure of where to go, or not, don't know what to do. And I'm looking forward to impacting as many lives as we can in a positive way. And not just that, but also building up our staff and everyone. Our DSPs determine the quality of the services we provide.
Absolutely.
Because we can sit here and talk about, our great aspirations and thoughts but it boils down to what is that direct support professional doing in the home with those individuals that we serve, and because what they do impacts their day to day. And so I look forward to spending more time training those staff members and empowering them and teaching them and mentoring them so that they can provide the highest level of support for the people we serve.
And I think the thing that gets missed is that when you look at staff, like the one that's still with us, that's been here from day one, there's opportunities to really find joy in what you're doing. Like it can be so much more than a job.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean the rewarding factor, it's mindset. It really is. It's mindset.
A lot of them become like family. I mean, they spend so much time with the people they serve that they're way invested with them, and they get to share in all of the successes and experiences throughout the years.
Yeah,
it is.
Absolutely.
It's cool. Might have to interview that employee.
I was just thinking that
might be a good idea.
Yeah, it would be cool for her to share, her why,
Yeah.
So, well, Ann, thank you so much for visiting with us today. You have contributed so much to our team and this company and to the world of developmental disabilities, and obviously your brother's life. I know someday the Lord will reward you as he has even here in this life, with the joy that you have in the things, but just knowing that you have cared so well for him and for so many other families. You've been even as a support coordinator, advocating for families to get the support that their loved one needs. And that is just, it's unique. And that's what makes you, and we're so blessed to have you part of our team. And so thank you for taking time this morning to meet with us and to let us interview.
Yeah.
And so hopefully you don't feel as nervous as you did at the beginning.
No, and I feel very blessed to be here because there are so many that are passionate about what we do too, and it's an honor and a blessing.
Well, that's what makes us who we are. So
absolutely, it's so fun. This particular interview was really fun because we could have just been going out to lunch or just sitting down. Chit-chatting.
We've already been almost an hour, and that's crazy to think about.
It's flown by.
It's gone by. So
Sadie's been on her feet for a really long time.
Yeah, she has. We thought she might take a break, but
There's
hasn't.
no rug in here. She can't lay on this tile.
All right. No, need something soft and cuddly. So, thank you guys for tuning in today. And as always, if you have any questions or anything, don't hesitate to reach out. We love you all, and we'll see you next time on Graceful Conversations.